mouth and Dharmakaya, 3 refuges. Buddham saranam gacchami. Buddham saranam gacchami. Dhammam saranam gacchami. Dhammam saranam gacchami. Sangham saranam gacchami. Sangham saranam gacchami. I take refuge in Buddha. I take refuge in Buddha. I take refuge in Dharma. I take refuge in Dharma. I take refuge in Sangha. I take refuge in Sangha. The 5 remembrances. I am of the nature to grow old. There is no way to escape growing old. I am of the nature to have ill health. There is no way to escape having ill health. I am of the nature to die. There is no way to escape death. All that is dear to me and everyone I love are of the nature of change. There is no way to escape being separated from them. My deeds are my closest companions. I am the beneficiary of my deeds. My deeds are the ground on which I stand. I am of nature to grow old. There is no way to escape growing old. I am of the nature to have ill health. There is no way to escape having ill health. I am of the nature to die. There is no way to escape death. All that is dear to me and everyone I love are of the nature of change. There is no way to escape being separated from them. My deeds are my closest companions. I am the beneficiary of my deeds. My deeds are the ground on which I stand. I am of the nature to grow old. There is no way to escape growing old. I am of nature to have ill health. There is no way to escape having ill health. I am of nature to die. There is no way to escape death. All that is dear to me and everyone I love are of the nature of change. There is no way to escape being separated from them. My deeds are my closest companions. I am the beneficiary of my deeds. My deeds are the ground on which I stand. This precious human life, rarely encountered, is easily lost. Now that I have life and opportunity, may I practice the Dharma wholeheartedly. Mahayana refuge. In my heart, I take refuge in Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. May I liberate suffering beings and bring them to great joy. May the compassionate spirit of love grow within me, that I may actualize the great way. In my heart, I take refuge in Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. May I liberate suffering beings and bring them to great joy. May the compassionate spirit of love grow within me, that I may actualize the great way. In my heart, I take refuge in Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. May I liberate suffering beings and bring them to great joy. May the compassionate spirit of love grow within me, that I may actualize the great way. Invocation of the lineage. I give thanks for the guidance of my teachers. For the lineage of the teachers before them, I give thanks and offerings for their devoted practice of generosity, moral discipline, patience, joyful effort, concentration, wisdom, skillful means, unshakable vow, spiritual powers, and awakened awareness for my benefit. May their years of life be lengthened, may their vows be completely realized, and may I cultivate these perfections with their guidance. 7 practices of the Bodhisattva. I bow down in body, speech, and mind. I offer the best I have to give, both real and imagined, to fill the space between us. I regret and purify all transgressions. I rejoice in all virtues. I request you to remain until total enlightenment. I request wise and compassionate guidance. I dedicate my merit for the sake of all beings. Generating love and compassion. May all sentient beings be free from clinging and hatred. Being close to some and distant from others, how wonderful it would be. May this be accomplished. I will free them from clinging and hatred. Bless me to accomplish this. May all sentient beings enjoy happiness and the causes of happiness. How wonderful it would be. May this be accomplished. I will bring them happiness and the causes of happiness. Bless me to accomplish this. May all sentient beings be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. How wonderful it would be. May this be accomplished. I will free them from suffering and the causes of suffering. Bless me to accomplish this. May all sentient beings have the joy that has never known suffering. May they be free from clinging, hatred, jealousy, miserliness, doubt, pride, wrong view, ignorance, and dualistic thoughts. How wonderful it would be. May this be accomplished. I will bring them to this state. Bless me to accomplish this. Please stand for the Heart Sutra. exactly form, sensation, perception, mental reaction, consciousness are also like this. Shariputra, all things are essentially empty, not born, not destroyed, not sane, not pure, without loss, without gain. Therefore, in emptiness there is no form, no sensation, perception, mental reaction, consciousness, no eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind, no color, sound, smell, taste, touch, object of thought, no seeing, and so on, to no thinking, no ignorance, and also no ending of ignorance, and so on, to no old age and death, and also no ending of old age and death, no suffering, cause of suffering, cessation, path, no wisdom, and no attainment, since there is nothing to attain. The Bodhisattva lives by Prajnaparamita, with no hindrance in the mind, no hindrance, and therefore no fear, far beyond elusive thinking. Right here is nirvana. All Buddhas of past, present, and future live by Prajnaparamita, attaining Anuttara Samyak Sambodhi. Therefore know that Prajnaparamita is the great sacred mantra, the great vivid mantra, the unsurpassed mantra, the supreme mantra, which completely removes all suffering. This is truth, not mere formality. Therefore set forth the Prajnaparamita mantra, set forth this mantra and proclaim. Gate, Para, Gate, Parsam, Gate, Bodhisattva, Gate, Para, Gate, Parsam, Gate, Bodhisattva, Gate, Para, Gate, Parsam, Gate, Bodhisattva. Infinite realms of light and dark convey the Buddha mind. All that is and we ourselves come forth in perfect harmony. We offer this sincere and devoted practice for the many beings of the six worlds, and dedicated in grateful thanks to the strength and sound practice of the great Heartland Sangha and its teachers. May our virtuous actions be cleared from all interferences, and may our vows be fully realized. We especially dedicate these merits to Marge, Mitchell, Matt, Flora, Jim, Susie, Ann, Tiffany, Griffin, Chrissy, Chelsea, Lucille, Mike, Marjorie, Irene, Mary, Dan, Haifa, Jack, Darcy, Roger, Soke, Karen, and Evan. May they have peace and healing. And to Patsy and Margaret at the time of their death. We also dedicate these merits to those whose names we hold in the silence of our hearts, as well as those whose names we now voice aloud. May we live in perfect peace with Buddha Dharma, and may we realize Buddha way together. Kids and Dharma school teachers, please prepare for Dharma school. Everyone else, please prepare for all that. We will now recite the Song of Covenant on page 8 of your Reiki book. We acknowledge in Kokoji Sangha with respect for the worth and dignity of each person, with wonder at the wisdom and compassion we seek to cultivate by practice, and with deep gratitude for the teachers of this lineage and our connection to one another, coming to support each other by upholding the precepts of doing no harm, practicing good, and actualizing good for others. Please be seated for this morning's talk. Sit comfortably, facing our teachers, and then we'll recite the Sangha of the Katan Open the Sutra account, also on page 8.
Just the sutra, the lectern. Good morning, everybody. Thank you very much for being here today. We concluded this morning a class called Establishing Your Buddhist Practice, and it gave us, those who participated, a chance to gather for 3 Sunday mornings and discuss together what it takes to actually land here, to get a practice going. And I want to emphasize for everyone's benefit that this is definitely a practice. Like, this is a thing that we do, right? We're a team that plays the sport. We don't just have theories and ideas and beliefs about the sport. We actually play the game. We do the thing, say. It's not sufficient to believe in the benefits of a healthy diet, say. You have to actually eat that way to get the benefits, right? Oh, that's the rub, right? But it's the same thing in Buddhist practice. Buddhism and Zen in particular is a practice. It's a thing that we do, right? It's not something we have Buddhist-y thoughts about in some way. So the question is, how did I get connected to the practice? And one of the key things is that you've got to get connected to a community. No two ways about it. None of us are unique in this way. The rules actually apply the same to all of us. This is not a thing that you can do lurking from afar. You can certainly get a sense of it. You can have some clarity about affinity or not, but not really. Really, one has to get connected to a team and start playing. Get in the band, get an instrument, play your part, feel what it's like to be connected and in community. And whenever this many introverts gather, well, you see what happens. So you just have to love that, love that, encourage that, don't be afraid of it, enjoy it. But roll what sleeves you have up and get in, get connected, And I found myself with occasion to mention that there are many that have an affinity or an alignment to the Dharma, and yet there are real obstacles and obstructions in their life, in their mentations, say, in the way they think about things or see things, or limiting beliefs and conditioning hoisted upon you unwillingly, perhaps, from parents or priests or coaches, peer groups, and so on, And one of the principal ways to erode these obstructions, known or unknown, is accruing merit. Okay, a very traditional Buddhist way of thinking about this. There are other ways to think about it, but the tradition says that one must engage with generosity and contribute and help. And in this way, your own obstructions are eroded and reduced. Okay? If you sit back on the sidelines waiting to feel what it's like to score the winning touchdown before you're willing to get on the field, it's never going to happen. Okay? One has to begin where one is, and how do you do that? You contribute. And I'm not just making a financial pitch here. I'm saying your heart and your mind and your energy and your attention and your intention, If you can come into the mandala at whatever degree and make a humble offering to help things move along, clearing a table of dishes, perhaps making a beautiful flower offering for the altar, say, or being a welcoming presence in the midst of this strange village, whatever it is. But it's this contribution that begins to seriously erode the obstacles. Contrasted with if you have an idea that I'm going to kind of sneak in incognito, get some goodies, and take them, and then I'll have a better life. There might be some things that a Dharma practice will do for you this way, but ultimate awakening, enlightenment depends on getting connected. So in a way that makes sense for each of us, may we really get connected, and if we are connected, may we deepen that connection. And if you're deeply connected and you have few obstacles, don't take any pride in that. That is simply the result of good causes and conditions, and the best way to mess that up is to take it for granted or to assume it gives you status or power over anyone. It does not, right? Whether our causes and conditions are immaculately set or challenged throughout and throughout, it does not matter. What matters is either we are engaged in the path or we are not engaged in the path. That's it. Wherever we are, get connected. If you have obstacle, practice those obstacles with the training that you have and dedicate the merit of that practice to those who do not have the access to the training. Let them in some way participate in your successful ability to work with this crazy stuff society serves up, right? And if you have ease and wind in the sails and clear skies, then enjoy that and dedicate the merit of that wonderful circumstance to those who do not enjoy it. Does this make sense to everybody? So really, it's not about where you are or how fast or slow you think things are going. It's about, are we engaged? Now, that being clear, the Lankavatara Sutra gives us guidance along similar lines. If you may recall, the last time I was discussing the Lankavatara, or in the description of bodhisattva practice, the sutra went at length to say that there's an instant cessation of delusive activities of the mind system. Okay? Thus, the dancing waves of habit energy on the face of Buddha mind are forever stilled, revealing the inherent quietness and solitude, the inconceivable oneness of the womb of reality. Okay? Big stuff, big words, but they're not random. They're pointing to something very, very direct and very intimately accessible. Now, the sutra continues. From here, or I would say in this state, there is no more looking outward upon the external world by senses and the sense minds, nor a discrimination of particularized concepts and ideas and propositions by an intellectual mind. There is no more grasping, neither is there attachment, nor pride of self-satisfaction, nor the habit energies of karma. So here we talking about obstacles. Speaking of obstructions, right? Here's a few. The sense minds immediately tumbling one into discriminatory awareness. Rather than simply perceiving a color, oh, I like it, or I don't like it. I think this is appropriate. I think that's strange. It should be bigger. It should be smaller. It's the right size. Instantly, upon, there's, except not necessarily so. In this state, there's a pure, direct perception without all the drama, shall we say. All dharma, no drama. Sounds good, sounds good. Henceforth, there is only the inner experience of noble wisdom, which has been attained by entering into its perfect oneness. A noble wisdom here is a technical Buddhist term, right? Family business kind of language. The noble wisdom is realizing the noble nature of yourself, the noble nature of reality, right? You are the nobility of the earth. Realizing that is the business at hand. See? So this inner experience of true reality, which has been attained by entering into perfect oneness. Now this oneness, you should have some familiarity with it, at least at a cognitive level. Obviously, at this moment in time, I'm speaking, you're listening, hopefully. Hopefully I'm speaking well and not poorly, hopefully, right? And yet, this oneness, what is this oneness? Does this oneness permanently eradicate all diversity and all the beautiful many expressions? Thankfully not. But if all we have access to experientially is the differences, the particularities, the separateness, then it would be as though looking at the leaves on a tree and only seeing the fact that they're different leaves, not realizing they're all part of the same tree. And the fact that they're part of the same tree does not obliterate the fact that this leaf is up high and this leaf is down low, and this one gets more sun and this one gets more shade. So these two things do not collide with each other in the least. And so too it is in the experientialness of oneness. One must touch the root. One must, in your own experience, connect to the taproot of the tree that we are all expressions of. This needs to occur in order for freedom, your freedom, to really be true. Imagine if each of those leaves had profound clarity of its connection to all the entire tree, and all the leaves that have come before will come after again. See, much of the stress of the leafly life will have gone off the table. Then the leaf can freely just be a leaf, enjoy its budding and its fruition, and even enjoy its decline, the brilliant colors of fall. And even as that leaf is released from the tree, rather than screams of terror, there's a joyful releasing. What more natural fate for a leaf than to fall at the appropriate time and provide nourishment for the next generation of the tree? Even in this, there is no separation from this oneness. This oneness, dear one, is there for you. It's been with you since before you were born. It will be there long after this body has passed. But to live and die without realizing it for yourself is truly regrettable. Don't be regrettable. So, thus, establishing themselves at the 8th stage of non-recession, these is different, the sutra has different ways of labeling and naming different stages of growth, say. The bodhisattva enters into the bliss of the 10 samadhis, but avoiding the path of disciples and masters who yielded themselves up to the entrancing bliss and passed into a lesser nirvana. Here is a little bit of a refrain of an older theme, which is to say that yes, if you learn how to meditate correctly, it can provide a great relief, but do not be satisfied with that. We don't meditate as an escape from the stresses and difficulties of life. It's not a matter of recharging the battery as such. Really, although you can do that, and that can be a self-imposed ceiling to what your meditation practice can give you, there's far more on offer. Far more. Do not be satisfied with the simple relief that a few moments of peace and quiet can give you. You need to have that. It's good for you. But don't stop there, okay? Once the mind is concentrated enough that you can actually be present, then we have to wield that concentrated mind in a way that peels back this prison that we find ourselves in, knowingly or not. So, thus establishing themselves, they know well the delights of the samadhis, but are not tethered to them, nor are they bound by them. So it's kind of interesting, sometimes people at a certain stage of training need very much to understand how to give themselves the gift of the release of the stress. And so there may be a long while where your training actually is about that piece, where the appropriate medicine for the condition that presents is a little bit of being able to just relax and let yourself enjoy being aware of your breathing. And this can be a massive boon and gift to your life. And there's more work to be done. This itself is not sufficient. Necessary, but not sufficient. Once a certain amount of safety, let us say, has been felt, then, dear one, you will find yourself allowing yourself to be sensitive. Okay? And it's this sensitivity which is the requirement for awakening. Insensitive mind, insensitive body, awakening very difficult. But if you are not comfortable, if you do not feel deeply safe on a cellular level, your defense mechanisms will not allow you to be sensitive, because to be sensitive is to be vulnerable in a very bad way. Does this make sense? I mean, it's the craziest thing. Here we sit in a winter wonderland, the Dharma resounding beautifully. I love the silence that comes with snow. I hope you enjoy it too. And even with this miraculous occurrence and this incredibly beautiful and well cared for space that is just filled with the love of so many people and practitioners, still, you can sit there in a state of deeply unsafe feelings. True? Okay? And so if that's what's going on in the nervous system, then this is what has to be addressed first. Okay? And this may take some time, and this may be a recurring feature of practice. There are levels to it. Okay? There are levels to it. But I tell you, if you are able to find power and agency and mastery and safety in your own skin bag while you sit on that meditation cushion, okay, then you will automatically, you will unclench the jaw, you will unlock the arms, you will unsquint the eyes, your heart will relax, the cells will begin to breathe, the body will have circulation, stagnation will be removed, and you will allow yourself to become sensitive. Do you see? And it's this sensitivity which is required. You must be able to feel at a very deep level the gravitational pull and pushes that are expressing in the mind stream if you're ever going to be free of them. You have to see them plainly and clearly. So the Buddha taught the first thing we need to do is get us some equanimity, get some stability, right? Stabilize, dude, right? Centeredness, some capacity to be in the light show with its glares and its shadows and its terrors and its joys, and not think that the answer is somehow to stack this deck so it's always pleasant. No, it's a matter of finding the freedom inside all of that. And what's there is your breath, your breathing, your hara, your one point. Whatever crazy stuff is going on, there is your center, right in the middle of your experience of it. This is the first bit of work to be done. There's no substitute for it. You cannot insert Zen thoughts, whatever those would be. You can't study stuff and memorize it and think that that will actually do it. It won't. Those are the cookbooks. You need the meal. Okay, and you give yourself the meal, the experience, the taste of this by taking up the practice of this zazen, seated Zen. In English we say meditation, but really it's sitting Zen is what it is. Seated reality. The practice of seated truth, you could say. Now, those who have moved into this space are supported by three things. Listen, they are supported by their vows, V-O-W, their vow. They are supported by the transcendental intelligence which is now theirs. And they are supported by the power of the Buddhas. These three, the sutra holds up. First, vow. Okay. Vow is the compass. It is knowing where north is. It is not that you'll forever just go straight this way. It doesn't work like that. Life is gusty and there are ebbs and flows. We're people. But we know where we're trying to get. We have a directional compass. And the vow is this directional compass. It sets the intention and sets the intent. This is absolutely critical. Without correct intention, nothing can follow correctly. If your intentions are even like nice but unclear, it's not good enough. you do not do well to take the family on a boat ride with the idea we're just going to go and explore and have fun. It's good to know the body of water that you're taking the family on and how much gas is in the tank and what's the weather looking like, right? And like, what are those buoys there for? What does that mean? College. So this is a little bit having the vow, right? Having the clear direction, you know? And it may seem, reasonably so, that the vow to alleviate suffering for all beings throughout space and time is a pretty big lift. You'd be right. You'd be right. But you know what? When you take that in its own terms, it gives an amazing context to the little challenges that we face together. What if you had a perspective that included boundless time and space and was very particular to this exact moment? And you knew that the goal here is not to like have the most toys when you win. It's not to beat others so that you win and they lose. It's not to gain salvation so you can leer down at those who don't and enjoy their sufferings. No, not at all. The purpose here is to awaken yourself and all beings throughout space and time. That, my friend, is deeply inspiring to me. That makes it so easy for me to deal with the things that otherwise might seem quite catastrophic. You know, the wider your field of view, the surer your steps. Next, supported by transcendental intelligence, a big spooky word, but it's simply your Dharma eye, right? The eye of wisdom, the heart of wisdom, the intuitive mind of the awakened ones, the shining ones who are able to see beyond what the intellect alone can grasp. Those who can actually intuitively and directly perceive this oneness and differentiation and enjoy the play between the two. This transcendental intelligence I might call immanent intelligence, frankly. It's so intimate, it's so deeply in this moment that you can't touch it, it's so close. The tongue cannot taste itself. It's that close. This transcendental intelligence, this immanent Dharma eye, however, needs training. We need to stumble into and experience and train it, and to learn to really trust yourself. How do you get from not being able to play an instrument to being able to play it? Well, there's not one way. There's a progress. But along the while, there are certain places where you either leap or you don't. Like actually getting on stage. That's a leap, right? There are others. So this transcendental intelligence, or this Dharma eye, rather, it requires a little bit of a cliff to push over. And then we find we have wings, lo and behold. It's rather like a loving, let us say, bird, a mother that has a few chicks and it's time. Out. Ooh, fun. Wooey likes it. It's a little bit like that. And you'll see this if you look at the Zen koan literature. There's all kinds of mother hen like kicking out of the nest stuff, you know. And then when the wings open and the gliding starts to happen, instincts take over and there's flight again. And if for some crazy reason, say all birds were to go extinct, but some miraculous way, one bird were again to take flight, all the flight of all the birds that have ever been would be manifested right there in that bird. As soon as that creature hit the right conditions and the wings open, it's on. Birdness is again expressed. This is your true nature is like this. The sad thing is you can go through your entire life not realizing the freedom of your own bird life. as a bird. Well, actually not. Birds do it great. People, needs a little work, right? And that's what we do. We train. And thirdly, the power of the Buddhas. This is the other support. This is recognizing that although no one can do this for us, we have to do this alone. And although we have to do this for ourselves, we can't do it alone. Both sides of this are absolutely true. Now, here we go. They pass through the bliss of samadhis and assume the transformation body of a Tathagata, that through them all beings may be emancipated. It's this transformation body that the sutra is speaking of. It would be a convenient topic to just gloss over. Nothing to see behind this curtain, let's move on. But I would do you a disservice. So simply allow these teachings to occur, arise in your mind, and if you find affinity, enjoy them. If you don't concern yourself. But allow yourself at least to come in contact with these teachings. The Nirmanakaya, right? The transformation body, the body of things. There are two aspects to the transformation body. One is that it's a physical body, and it's assumed as such so that a Buddha, a Bodhisattva, may be able to teach and guide others. So this aspect is talking about a very physical reality, transformation body. You know, it's interesting. I've had many opportunities to see my teacher under different circumstances, and it always kind of astonishes me how Roshii is able to arise in whatever situation Roshii's in and just meet it. It doesn't matter if it's a bar or a zendo or a fancy restaurant or a simple home-cooked meal. People of great erudition and education, folks that would not be an appropriate claimer or label. It doesn't matter. The Bodhisattva has this ability to appear in any realm, even hell. The Bodhisattva can arise in hell and show up in a way that's recognizable to the beings trapped there, to manifest as an ally and a friend and someone that can be trusted. But I tell you, what a demon looks for in an ally is not what an angel looks for in an ally. Okay? So the true Bodhisattva transformation body can arise in whatever form is useful, regardless of the way the being is stuck. In the Buddha, you can see very clearly in the Buddha's 40-some years of teaching, the kinds of teachings that the Buddha gave very much depended on who's in the room. He's talking to a bunch of rulers, he gives certain kind of teachings. If he's talking to a bunch of warriors, they get a different kind of teaching. You're talking to simple villagers and farmers, something else comes out. When he's working with his monastics, a little different dharma starts to be preached. It depends on the causes and conditions of the beings that are being helped. The same way a physician does not prescribe the same medicine to every patient they see, hopefully. The medicine has to suit the condition. And as soon as the condition is resolved, the medicine should be jettisoned. This is the same. Now, the other aspect, the sutra says, of this transformation body is that it is dreamlike. It is illusory. It is a body which is a manifestation of wisdom and compassion created by the Buddha's mind for the benefit of others. This is so. A little slippery to talk about, but important to have some exposure to. The way you think particularly the way that you habitually think. You could liken it to energy, let's say, and you think a certain thought about something, let's say, and you keep repeating that. And in this way, you are creating a spell for yourself. You are giving power to this thought, this image, whatever it is, the sweet new guitar you long for, the person you can't stand, whatever. The way your life is supposed to have turned out, quote unquote, okay? And you keep feeding that with your thoughts. And even a very untrained and imprisoned mind has enough power that starts to take on a kind of an agency unto itself. That pattern of thought begins to have opinions, begins to interact back with you, almost take on a kind of volition. Why? Well, it's an algorithm of mind that you've put a lot of energy into, frankly. It's one way to see it. There are others. But now, if you have an awakened mind, a mind that is deeply trained and knows well samadhi and how to move in and out of states, and now this mind wields itself to see itself, and now that mind puts its mind into creating patterns that can be helpful for the world. This is a very real thing. People often call the temple and ask for intentions. My dear one is ill. Please include them. This is not, in my view, simply a kind of a nicety. This is actual. This means that when the priest comes up here and does the priestcraft, which there is, that person's name has been voiced. And for me, anyway, I am very much putting what capacity I have at the service of helping those folks. So this is a very real experience. You can quibble, is it true or not? And that's fine. In the same way that if you dream you're falling from a cliff, for you, for those moments, that's quite real. It's not true. You're cozy in bed. But the effect of that reality is real. Your heart races, the adrenaline pumps, okay? So at least at this level. So be very careful, okay? If you are habitually putting your awareness into something that is not serving you, you are giving that thing life, and it will start to interact with you. It's just an aspect of yourself. But I encourage you to take it seriously enough to not play with it. In fact, perhaps we can all think of examples of people that for some reason become fixated on a particular thing, and they keep pouring mental energy into it so much that it feels to them like they can never escape the gravitational pull of what they've wrought. But you can. Yes, you can. Simply sit upright. Bring your awareness to your own body as it is right now. Feel the freedom of this moment. There are no bonds upon you. There is no prison. There is no spoon. It's a Matrix reference. Does anyone know it? I feel like I just lost half the room. Yeah. That's how I know I'm getting older. My cultural references just... Oh well, I yield. So, but this transformation body, right? How the Buddha controls this manifestation of wisdom and compassion. Both of these taking on various forms and appearances to creatively suit the needs and capacities of different beings. It was brought to mind our time in the pandemic. Those who were in the Sangha at that time will recall we like most of life, went pixelated, virtual versions. And yet we did things together as a community to keep each other connected. And not just chat rooms and conversation. I'm talking transformation body activity. And it worked. So mind what you do with that mind. It's as real as anything gets. They pass through the bliss of the samadhis to assume transformation bodies of a tathagata. Tathagata is womb of thusness, womb of reality, the transformation bodies of the womb of reality. That through this all beings may be emancipated in whatever realm or whatever state. Mahamati, the Buddha goes on to say, if there had been no Tathagata womb and no divine mind, then there would be no rising and disappearance of the aggregates that make up personality and its external world, no rising and disappearance of ignorant folk nor holy ones, and no task for the bodhisattvas. Therefore, while walking in the path of self-realization and entering into the enjoyments of samadhi, you must never abandon working hard for the emancipation of all beings, and your self-yielding love will never be in vain. You'll often hear Buddhist teachers, including the Dalai Lama and others, say that Buddhism does not concern itself with a deity, and indeed it does not. Many, if not most, of the world's religions are quite concerned with the creator deity and how does this come to be and how do we be in right relationship with it. Sure. And yet, here it says, if thusness were not so, the aggregates would not form. Aggregates meaning eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind. Form, sensation, perception, consciousness, awareness. It's baked into reality itself, says the sutra. And because this is true, then you must never cease this intent to alleviate suffering for yourself and all beings, because we're here. It's not a game. It really isn't. We're all dying as we're living. You've noticed? I hope so. No power comes from avoiding what's true. Finally, to philosophers, the conception of this Tathagata seems devoid of truth, sullied by external manifestation. But it is not so understood by the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, by the Tathagatas. To them, it is not a proposition of philosophy, but it is an intuitive experience that is as real as if though it was a fruit held in the palm of your very hand. Establishing your Buddhist practice. May we all practice well. For the sake of all beings throughout space and time, may it be so.
Beings are To